Hey guys, welcome to Connecting Ends. Tonight we want to welcome Veronica Pough.
Thank you for having me. Hello, hello.
Now, Veronica, we know that everyone's been affected with the pandemic with COVID-19, and I would just like to find out how were you affected?
Whew, what a question. I was affected, deeply. I mean, it was no one expected that. My mom had dementia and she was already residing in a nursing home. So, of course, when the pandemic happened, I had a natural concern because of the nursing home. You have different people in and out, and, but it's just like you still don't think it would really happen to you. Um, but I'm still very affected by it in many ways, hurt, confused, still have questions that will never get answered. But the one thing that I admire about myself is that I keep God first, and with having that understanding, it gets me through everything, even when I do feel lost and confused. Because it doesn't make sense to stay one place for too long, because then you'll stay there forever. If I have questions that I know that I want answered, I'll be waiting forever. So once you accept it, you just have to deal with ways to cope. So that's really what I do.
Okay, yeah, and which is that is the honest truth. Um, we all have to try to find a way, especially to heal from something like this. Can
Mm-hmm.
you tell me a little bit about your mom? What kind of person she was?
My mom was amazing, very bubbly. I get a lot of my personality from her. She was so sweet. Everyone that knew her, they remind me of that until this day. And it sounds so cliche, right? Because when people pass away, the first thing people say is they were such a wonderful person. They were so sweet. But the reality is that if people are saying those things, then it must be true, right? I don't think that that's something people can make up. So she was definitely very loving. Oh my goodness. I mean, she was so sensitive. We would watch a movie, and if someone died in the movie, she's sitting there crying. She was just a natural sweetie pie, very loving, and she loved kids. She
Wow.
loved kids. I never saw her become impatient with a kid or felt annoyed, and she wanted me to have five. And I said, okay, you have five grandkid money. But if those are two things I could say about her, very loving. She always gave me TLC. Um, and I think that's something that every kid yearns for. People, you have parents who make up materialistically, but that wasn't my mom. She showed me love and hugged and kissed me every minute she got. And sometimes it was annoying, but if I had an opportunity, I would bring it all back.
Wow. And how old was your mom? I know you said she was, in the nursing home it was, if I'm correct.
Hmm.
How old was
Hmm. My mother was 61. She was young. Yeah, diagnosed with dementia at 54. Yes. Hmm.
so around the time, can you tell us around the time when your mom got sick and how things took a turn?
Yeah. So that's a good question. I started to notice some patterns, and me and my family, we knew something was not correct. But of course, when someone is 54 years old, the last thing you're going to say is, oh, they have dementia. But I would notice her memory, the short term memory was going, but it didn't dawn on me. I would remind her, I said, oh, give me a call, don't forget, because she would always call me. But
Mhm.
then I would notice weeks turn into months. She wouldn't call me. She would forget to meet up with me in certain places. I would have to call and constantly remind her. And then I sat down one day and I said to myself, I said, something's not right. But I don't know what it is, but something's not right. And then, just that one day, this is actually a testimony. She kind of went MIA for a couple of months. So I became, very concerned. I would go around and look for her. I knew her areas of where she would go, and I really couldn't find her. So I got a phone call one day from a good friend of the family. No, actually, she called my aunt and she says, I think I see your sister. And my aunt was like, grab her and keep her with you. And that's exactly what she did. My aunt called me and was like, we found your mother. So, and I will never forget that was Columbus Day weekend, as a matter of fact. And I think that was 2000 and my math will be off. We'll put it this way: we'll say
All
six.
right.
Yeah, we'll say 6 years ago, between 6 and 7 years ago.
So
And go ahead.
I'm sorry. So did COVID hit the nursing home? And how did you guys get that phone call?
Oh, okay. So it was two different phone calls. So what I'm referring to is when we found out that she had the dementia.
Okay.
Once that family member held on to her, then we came and we took her to the hospital to see what was going on because we thought something was off mentally. And they ran a series of tests and they said the reason why she's having these issues is because she has dementia. So once we discovered she had dementia, it was not something I wanted to do. Nursing home was the last thing on my mind, but I think we all get to a point in life in our lives where we have to come to terms with reality and um, what we should do, and that's what happened. So the reality for me was I don't want to put her in the nursing home, but family members intervened and they said, "Listen, you're young, you're working, everyone is working. You can't take her on full time. She needs someone to be around, 24/7 supervision." So once the family made that decision, that was when we placed her in the nursing home. And she was doing well there for years. I would visit her, take her out. I would do everything as if she didn't even live in a nursing home. You see how she looks, right? That was how she always looked. So people thought she worked there. It was funny. But the day I got that call, which was exactly a day before my birthday last year, March 24th, I got a call saying that she had a fever of 109. Right then and there, I knew. I said she has COVID. So that yeah, when they called and told me that, I knew before they even, and they didn't test her. They of course had to take her to the hospital, and then it was confirmed that she had it.
Okay, I know like this is like a hard question to ask. So after your mom got to the hospital, did your mom go on a ventilator? Did she just have breathing treatment?
They gave her breathing treatments, but unfortunately, when you have something like dementia, at some point there will become a decline in your brain and your thinking and everything overall. She couldn't fend for herself. She couldn't talk. So that I think that was the worst experience for me because she was unable to fend for herself. In the hospitals at that time, no one could have visitors. So it wasn't like I was able to be there with her physically. The most I could do is call, and you can only do but so much on the telephone. Um, so yes, when they noticed that her breathing was very poor, her oxygen levels were going down, they did intubate her. Yes.
They did. And were you, after her being intubated, did you get calls like of different things like she's doing better, she's this, that? It was like, how did that go?
That's one thing I could say. The hospital staff were amazing. They were very sensitive. They were very tired, overwhelmed. It's like I felt all of the energy in all of those phone calls. They did a great job at following up with me at least every 2 to 3 hours because they knew we couldn't see them and they knew that we were scared. We were just as scared as they were. And the most, I will never forget this. We had someone call, like kind of like not the social worker, but the other people who provide the emotional support.
Mhm.
And they checked on my mental health a lot. They definitely provided a lot of support. We spoke about the possibilities, right? What if it goes the wrong way, the way that we don't want it to go, to start planning now. And just seeing where I was emotionally, I thought that was amazing. That someone took the time out to do that and that they actually had someone appointed to do those things. So they definitely provided a lot of support and great updates, but it still did not equate to me being able to be there right by her side.
To be there. Yeah, that was really really hard for a lot of people, like just not to be able to be there for your loved ones.
Mhm.
And I know during this time your mom passed away. Um, how did you feel like when you got that phone call, hearing something like this, that this happened?
Uh, I didn't want to accept it. It's no secret. I'm very spiritual. I
Mhm.
believe in the Father and the Holy Spirit. And when they called and they said, well, they asked me, they said, hey, your mom is not doing well right now. So what happened is that she went to the hospital and it's like she recovered. She went back to the nursing home. But when she got there, she was not doing well in that recovery stage.
Mm.
So it went on for about 5 days. And then they would call and they told me that she wasn't doing well. Her breathing was poor. Do you want us to send her to the hospital? And of course, I said, yes, do everything you can. I said, it's not over until God says it's over.
Yeah.
And the doctor was very nice. He had a lot of compassion and concern in his voice, and he was like, "Honey, I think if you were here to see her, you would feel that God is telling you that, And that was a hard pill to swallow. It was like a 15-second pause, and I just didn't know what else to say. I was driving. I had a family member with me, thank God. Um, I still was kind of defiant. I was like, no, you send her to the hospital, but her nurse,
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful nurse, I will never forget her. She grabbed the phone from the doctor because, of course, the doctor was going to abide by my wishes. She grabbed the phone and her exact words, she said, honey, I love your mom. I feel like she's my mom. She was like, but I don't want anyone else to tell you this. I don't want you to get that call later tonight. She said, but I'm telling you, I'm looking at her, she's not going to make it until the nighttime. And she said, and I know it hurts. She said, but I will do it. She said, if you want us to save her right now, I will give her CPR. She said, but my concern is that me being on top of her, I'm going to crush her ribs, which is going to create more problems and is going to hurt me emotionally to do that. So she was like, I just, she's comfortable, she's home, if she's going to go, let her go. And that was when I accepted it. There was really nothing else I could do at that moment.
Nothing else you could do. Wow, that just kind of it just got to me
Yeah.
because to hear that over the phone from someone else,
Yeah.
to
That's the thing. This whole process was over the phone. I saw her not one time. My last time seeing her, I think, was early February of that year. When this first happened, the nursing home called everyone and said, no visits. You can do iPad visits. They did make up for virtual visits, and I understood, but just the fact that I couldn't advocate or just hold her hand through the process, or at least know and physically be with her, like, get all of your time that you can now. All of my time was on the phone calls.
right, right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, if you could go back, just to everything, like, where you could be with your mom, like, what is one thing that you're missing that maybe that you want to tell her, maybe that you want to wish you would have said?
Um, to be honest, I've always told my mom everything I've wanted to tell her, but I guess if I had to go back and tell her anything, um, I would just literally say I enjoyed my time here on earth with you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only thing I could say.
And since the passing of your mom, what's some advice that you can give to other people, letting them know like how to deal with this when you lose someone?
So, actually, some wonderful advice that my aunt gave me, who is her sister. My aunt loves plants. So she keeps her loved ones alive through plants. And I know that might sound, some people are like, what? But not in a super spooky way. She waters her plants and she names them. And she says, you know what, I'm going to watch the plant grow. That's her way of keeping them alive. So I say that to say, whatever makes you feel better, as long as it's positive. So for me, I don't necessarily go that route. But I'll listen to a couple of her favorite songs from back in the day, and that makes me smile. I keep her alive in that sense. Like, I know she'll never come back, but I don't dread and I don't mourn continuously, because the body is going to go. We're all going to go, but her spirit will live on. That's how I see it. So, I'll put on her favorite song here and there, or I just might randomly start laughing at something that I know my mother would think is funny. Or see, like right now, you see I have her picture behind me. I feel like she's standing there like, that's right, girl, say all these wonderful things about me. That's my way. Right, like that's my way of keeping her alive to me. So I offer that type of advice, and also talk about it. Don't hold it in. I find the more you talk about something, the more you become open, and the more you become a safe haven for someone else who might need to hear it.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Um, you were just awesome. You seem so strong um about the whole situation, you know? Seeing your
Thank you.
actually is like giving me some energy, you know, to deal with
Yeah,
COVID myself, you know? Um, if you could show your mom's picture and just
sure.
a little bit more forward so we can see that diva back there.
So
Let me
this is
know
actually
her name.
something my aunt got this picture blown up for me. I know I have a glare in the background. I'm sorry about that, but
It's real,
this is her.
real talk, girl.
Yeah. So I remember this day. We had service that day outside, and we did it at a park. And I was like, Mom, I'm gonna dress you up real nice today. And she was feeling herself. Actually, at a certain point when the dementia started to really come to a decline, she had a hard time, like with her range of motion. So, and also she couldn't look at the camera. So if you said, Mom, look at the camera, take a picture, the camera might be here, and she's, wait, where? Like, she had a hard time. You can put it in front of her eyes, she still couldn't follow. So this is like one of the few last times she was able to actually look at the camera and smile. So that's why I really love that picture.
A beautiful, beautiful lady. Um, and if you could just address your mom's name, let her
Yes.
know to remember
My mom's,
lively woman.
yes, her name, very unique name, Thernarda. So a lot of people call her T or Auntie or Sis or something like that. But her name was Thernarda Pough.
Thernarda Pough. So tonight, everyone, we just want to remember Thernarda Pough um, as just a loving woman. She seemed like she had full of life and full of jokes, probably too, and just lots of love, lots of
Yes.
love. And we want to thank Veronica, you know, for
Thank
just
you.
sharing your story with us. It's good. You gave a lot of energy tonight, showing people that, something can happen, but, you can still live on.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Veronica.
Thank you for having me, Sasha, and condolences to you as well, because I know why you did this. I think it's a great cause, and I know that this will be a successful docuseries.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.